Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Phil here. Just waiting on Cruz, but in the meantime, I can actually just get started. And I know you guys probably don't see me too often on the screen, and part of the reason for that is because I use Google Meet and it doesn't switch off to the host video program when things are going live. But it's a good little break, right? Just to be able to see my face every now and then. And so far, we're coming into February, and I'm nearly a month in, and Cruz just jumped in right now. But I'm nearly just a month in, or excuse me, 2 months in Ecuador. In Ecuador, it's been extremely hot. Over the weekend, it's been fairly relaxing, but overall, just doing a lot of side projects and already starting to plan for when June comes around. Part of the reason for that, Cruz is supposed to be coming out here in Ecuador around the same time when I'm out here. So some of the things that we're trying to get together um, before everyone arrives, including my mother, who's supposed to be traveling. And so Cruz is here now. And how was your day?
Oh, good. Busy with just work, some late meetings and stuff, but still just a ton of meetings today. Normal stuff. But everything's good. It's just rainy out, a little dark, but no complaints. Still waiting to get out of here. You're talking about getting out to Ecuador, which yeah, I can't wait for that at all.
Yes, Sophia and I actually spent a little bit of time this weekend looking up some of the excursions and stuff like that. And there's actually some pretty good promotions, like 5 days, 4 nights in the Galapagos for like $400, and that includes the flight, hotel, food, and excursion. So at least we have coverage for 5 days, 4 nights. So
It's pretty
something,
solid, yeah.
yeah. So uh,
Yeah, if they're throwing in food and the flight and the different stuff, because I was looking at flights, they're a few $100,
yeah,
varying, obviously it's a premium flight, not that demand is super high right now, I'm going to assume, but in general, it's a pricier flight than the actual distance that it is.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think part of it too is just a small airport. It's a destination spot, so I'm
Yeah,
assuming that
exactly.
they're just gonna tack on a bunch of pricing, but definitely keep you posted on that because, like I said, it's one of those things where Sophia was showing me some stuff. She's like, "Oh, here's some Galapagos, um, you know, all all inclusive trip." It's like that's just not bad at all. So if it's one of those things where we're all going to converge at the same time in Galapagos, I think it makes sense just to purchase the whole thing at once and maybe even try to get an additional deal along the way. Might as well at least attempt to, considering that there might be several of us going, and you're staying a little bit longer, so that might even be able to. They're they can come up with probably some promotion with that too. So uh, I'll swing that by you when the time comes. But it was one of those. It got me excited over the weekend. Oh shoot! Like this is you know the last time I checked, believe it or not, when I was when I was here in Ecuador, not the previous time, but the time before that, like the first time here, it was like $600 to $700 for a round trip. Uh,
Yeah,
Galapagos, all inclusive, and then return back into Guayaquil. So I think that's a pretty good deal as far as I'm concerned, considering that they run promotions all the time. So yeah, so I was pumped up about that. Not much going on here as far as activities go. Sophia and I were actually going to plan to go to Olón, or kind of just impromptu go to Olón over the weekend. But we decided, like, oh, we want to kind of plan it a little bit more because I do want to go surfing, and
sure.
we ended up just kind of taking care of stuff at the house. Like today I ended up putting together this. I don't know if you want to call it a cabinet, but it's a stand where it's kind of like this hand washer thing. It's got like it's a sink with ribs on it, and then you can wash clothes or whatever stuff on it. We just have to add the piping to the drain, and then it's pretty much good to go. But it took all day. I had to get all the tools and the supplies, and unfortunately the the wood distributor doesn't open during the weekend, so we were stuck um, on Monday for today. So, but otherwise, I pretty much got it done. This thing's freaking solid. I was pretty pumped.
Nice.
How about you?
Yeah, I was just checking. I was just checking some stuff for Colombia right now. It actually went to like a yellow partial, which I don't know why. Um,
I wonder.
oh, I think they. Yep, they instituted. It looks like they instituted a PCR test. That's why.
Oh, that's not that bad.
96 hours prior to boarding. Mandatory entry requirements. Without a negative PCR, we'll need to fill out a written form explaining why. Passenger will be required to take a test upon arrival. Self-isolate between blah 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 blah. So yeah, it looks like they just changed the need the PCR test, but still slated for the 28th. Yeah, nothing major. Just that changes it to a yellow because it's partially allowed, whereas
Yeah.
before they weren't requiring it for the United States at all. You could just come in.
Is it like 3 days in advance, or is it going to be how are they?
96 hour, 4 days.
Oh, that's way
So remember, I promised I was going to book my ticket, but I didn't. So
better.
because my other buddy Pat, he had to renew his. So if you're traveling, and anybody that's not familiar with it, some countries, even though your passport's still valid and your passport may be valid before you leave the country, they even require extended time. So like Colombia in particular, I know requires 6 months. Like your passport has to be good for the next 6 months upon entry.
Mm.
So his was expiring this year, so he just was jumping, getting ahead of it, of course, because you can't be traveling and having expire. Obviously, he requested one. This was a while ago now, maybe a month, but getting passport renewal is real slow right now. Even the expedited everything, it says 4 to 8 weeks. So he doesn't want to book anything until he definitely gets his passport, back in hand. Which, even with the change fee, flight, and everything, something can always come up. You can get screwed over. It's kind of definitely taking a risk without having a valid passport to book an international flight. So I definitely understand his perspective on that. So I was just holding off a little bit until he sets that, and or if you're getting close to trying to just lock something in. I know you usually the month out plan. So in the next week or so, you're getting ready to just pick a date in the beginning of April and set something.
Yeah, definitely in the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna be getting that squared away just because, uh, because like I said, because there's a lot of stuff kind of gonna merge and roll in, so I have to make sure that I can get my schedule kind of lined up a little bit clearly because once I get to Massachusetts, it's like it's all business. It's pretty much gonna be like going buck wild, getting stuff done, getting errands done, and then from there, you know, um, making sure that I have everything. Although I feel like I'm pretty well set up. But one of the things actually I came across because we went to the beach on yesterday, and I brought my wrong set of scuba goggles because I wanted to do a little bit of snorkeling or whatever at the beach yesterday, and
Yep.
I don't have my corrective lens, so I have to remind myself that it's such a small thing because technically like my vision's a little bit better with the goggles on because everything looks a little bit closer, but
Yeah, of course.
it's just that much better because my vision's so bad. So it's like little stuff like that that I don't know how I grabbed the wrong one, um, but I definitely did. So that was kind of a thing, but I might actually just leave this one here now because it's here. Um, take my take my other one with me to everywhere I go. And we have a people on here, and this is an open invite for people that are watching right now. Since Cruz and I and possibly his buddy Pat is going to be out in Colombia, we're extending the invite. So if you guys want to join us in Colombia, do a little bit partying and whatever, even Ecuador, be glad to hang out and stuff like that. For the most part, during the course of the week, it's a pretty normal week. I try to maintain a regular schedule throughout the week, and then the weekends and nights are kind of the open, moments of stuff not related to doing something constructive or productive. More kind of chilling out, stuff like that, and doing activities. But I'm pretty excited about there's gonna be my mother's talked about coming out here in June, and then you're gonna be out here. Pat's gonna be out here. I think that's gonna be really cool, and I'm trying to get one of my sisters to come out because I brought it up to her before, but I don't know if she was really up for it.
Yeah.
She was kind of like, "Oh, that sounds like a good idea," because obviously I was talking about the food and whatnot and the beaches. She's like, "Oh, I'd like to get a tan," and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So, and
Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for it. I shouldn't have been this annoyed, but I was so annoyed. It was just yesterday. I was I was like just doing my weekend stuff, head to the grocery store. It's a little chilly out, but I had just I just had like a hoodie on because I was like, oh, I'm just going to be running in and out. I don't want to deal with the extra jacket in the car. Driving by, it's in the plaza, of course, like a lot of grocery stores are in the plaza going along. So I'm coming up, I'm like, is that a line? Like, it's a goddamn line again to get in the stinking grocery store at Whole Foods. Well, not like knock on wood, I can't really complain because the line did go really fast. But I'm like, the line was like 25 people deep outside
wow,
to get in. I was like, what is going on? And you know what it was? I guarantee it was chewing up probably a lot of the thing. It was a ton of the online orders. They have so many people there packing orders because I got in there and there wasn't a ton of people like in the way. The register lines maybe had 2 or 3 people in all of them. Checked out 2 seconds, ding, done, gone. It's all the extra people that they have in there fulfilling those online orders for the curbside pickup.
wow,
Tons of them everywhere. I would say a third of the people in the place are like pick and packers,
wow.
which is crazy, right? Like, I don't think that's going to change. I think that's going to stay.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I think there's a general convenience to it. I would presume, or at least it shaves off, 15, 20 minutes. I don't know, but I would presume that, right? Because people go there, they might have to wait 15, 20 minutes in line, but that's not an hour at the groceries that they had to, walk around. I don't know. I mean, maybe people like staying at home. I, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm like, not gonna lie, I'm excited for my grocery store trip. I'm like, oh, get out, go outside, go to a place, go do something. I was like, all right, this is great. Like, I actually look forward to the grocery trip run.
Yeah. So that's what I'm guessing is like people just want to get home and I don't know. They just like that setting, Whereas I'm the same way with you. It's like, oh crap, we're going to the store. All right. It's
All right, yeah, cool, let's go.
it's like a huge event. You know what I mean? To me, I
Yeah,
mean, considering that last year we were basically stuck in the house, and then well, I mean now in the wintertime over there, it's like can't really do much because if it's rainy, cold outside, it's not any fun. So um, I can only imagine like yeah, it's it's a nice break out of the day, especially if someone's working from home, where the setting isn't changing that much overall. And
mm-hmm.
I actually talked with one of my buddies on Saturday, and he lives out in California. He's an electrical engineer, and before he used to work in the lab, and he was saying like he missed he really misses going into the lab and like, working with his hands, using all the instruments. But I guess everything now is just, in front of the laptop and stuff like that. So it just kind of, wears them out. It's like even today, for instance, like I said, I was outside all day today, working with my hands, and I don't know if you can see this, dude, but my hands are really red. So you could tell that I don't work with my hands much anymore
Yeah,
because they're like really tenderized. I'm like, holy crap, they're just
yeah.
using an automated drill and uh, a, a wheel saw, and it's like I'm like, holy crap, man, my hands are not conditioned, for any of this kind of stuff, or at least like I have to do it a lot more often, to get my body accustomed to it. It's like, but it was a nice break because I did stuff over the weekend. I did some drawings, and then we, needed to build it so that we could, because we installed the washer and we installed the sink, that washed a few things by hand. So now it's pretty much done. We just have to add the drain. I don't want to do that. I'm just, I did the drawing. I constructed the stand. I don't want to do any more stuff. I mean, I could do
Nah,
it. I guess I could do it, but
of course, but
yeah, I'm,
certain
I'm
things.
I might. I don't know. I haven't done that kind of stuff in so long. Um, so it's almost like completely new because I mean I'm talking like in my teens, like of doing this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a little foreign, but it is a nice break to just like get away from the computer because I spend so much time in front of it. And then so that was
Yeah,
like one of the only days that I had, but this week is just going to be straight grinding,
past
unfortunately.
past month with just like the snow and the cold weather, and obviously working. I work on a laptop all the time, no matter what. But working at home, and then like, what else extra is there to do? So I'm just jumping on the computer, playing some games, messing around. It's, been way too much time in front of the computer. Just way too much time in front of the computer lately.
Mm.
Uh,
I mean, we're in front of the computer right now.
yeah, yeah. As we're doing this, I know it's just too much screen time. We need to definitely start working on disconnecting and getting away for sure.
Yeah. Anyone that's watching right now, are you getting a little burnt out from being on the screen, being inside? We'd like to hear your stories about what it's been like for you guys, or are you actually going into the office or the factory? Wherever you guys are working, are you on the road? Do you travel a lot? We'd like to hear some of your experiences, and like, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about what's been going on? Has it even affected you at all? We'd like to get a different perspective here as far as you know what you guys been doing on a day-to-day basis, because I think that's important to be able to talk about it. Because we're over a year out now, or we're getting into a year since everything was closed, and then now we're kind of, I guess, past the honeymoon phase of what happened last year. So,
We're way past the honeymoon phase.
so, uh, like,
I'm ready for the divorce. What are you talking about?
right? Seriously.
Terrible. I'd not sign a prenup. You can take half. I don't care. Just go.
Oh, it's just, it's really, it's really
It's
ridiculous.
been a year, and it's been a year, and I got furious yesterday about the stupid line. I was so mad in my car.
But
Absolutely so mad.
but I feel like it's justified. There's you know what I mean? Because it was
Yeah, like
almost,
I had a temper tantrum in my car going by when I saw the line. Like I had an absolute like 5-year-old temper tantrum about this line.
I'm not gonna lie, I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah, if anybody was like watching me in my car, they must have been like, "What is the matter with this guy? Just, just losing it." But
You know what? But if they saw the line, they'd be like, I understand.
Oh, one dude definitely understood. I saw he walked. The second he saw it, he turned around and left. He didn't even get in line.
He didn't even bother.
He just yeeted. Whoop, I'm out. Just turned around back to his car. I had nothing better to do, so I went and got in line. So
Yeah. So do you think that other companies are going to follow suit as far as the curbside pickup? I feel like that's probably what's in store for every place.
yeah, I know. I have a buddy of mine that I actually, game with a bit. Works for Best Buy, and they're switching they're kind of changing their business model up to where they had, how they had like the Geek Squad where you'd call in and kind of set up the appointment. Now, if you actually, they're kind of changing the business model, trimming down their actual work, their employee base, especially as far as like long-term salary employees, and going more towards like you need to call up and set an appointment to even just like come in and
Mm,
check things out and be consulted as far as what you want, and leaning more towards using their locations as like the curbside pickup and that type of facilitation.
mm. Okay, so
So,
that's that's interesting because all right, so it looks like that is kind of
well, if you're planning appointments and there's no like walk-ins and everything to come in and like, hey, I want to look at some electronics. This is your time slot that you're going to be coming in and everything. It's like the Disney model where the reason that one of the big reasons that like Disney has the fast pass isn't necessarily just for the convenience of the end user. It's actually for them because now they know the exact monitoring of foot traffic. How many people are
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be in a particular area of the park at a particular time? They know exactly where that person's next stop is, so they can guesstimate the route that they're going to be taking, and they can
Mm.
plan accordingly to have the correct amount of employees timed and in different locations to maximize and also minimize their overhead.
Yeah, I was gonna say right when you said that was that this seems like an easier way to capture data as far as foot traffic goes.
They know when you're going to be there, the next spot you're going around what, like, oh, they're going from here to here. We know that like 5,000 of the people are going to be going from spot A to spot B to catch their pass. They have a bit of a gap. It's around lunchtime, that 12 to 2 o'clock. Like, okay, we know that there's going to be heavy traffic in here and here, plus their general trends and everything. But yeah, it helps them be really predictive with that stuff and keep that whole oil machine. Because I mean, let's be honest, I don't know the last time you've been to Disney, but that place is an absolutely finely tuned, well-oiled machine as far as hustling and bustling and moving people around.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, their schedules are. I mean, the last time I was there, like
It's insane.
yeah, like their parade happens at a particular time.
Everything. It just
There
all happens and goes. It's nuts.
and you always feel like there's some type of activity, but you never feel like you're forced to see it. You know what I mean? There's
It's
always
just going on. It's
yeah,
just all just magically in the world of Disney, just going on.
yeah. I gotta say, like as far as operations go, it's a very impressive thing, and I feel like with what's going on right now, um, I feel like that's part of the plan, right?
Super impressive.
Right?
Like if you were like, oh, Disney with your logistics knowledge, hey, can you like just distribute this vaccine in the most efficient manner possible? And
Yeah, they
Amazon, you're gonna ship, and Amazon, you ship it.
yeah
Like
they would
everybody that wanted a vaccine would already be injected like 5 weeks ago. They would already be
yeah,
done with it. And they would all
yeah.
have popcorn. They all would have gotten a photo with Mickey and Minnie and bought an Alexa. All would have been done. Already over.
So that's an interesting thing, right? Everyone's going to be getting the vaccine at some point. What was it, April for everyone?
Oh yeah, everybody's gonna get it. Absolutely.
Uh, I haven't heard anything here yet as far as what's going on with Ecuador, but um, I
Colombia's rolling it out.
they
Colombia
are
started at vaccinating. Yeah, they started about 2 weeks ago, it looks like.
okay.
Um, Costa Rica, which, in case you're wondering, is on my short backup list in case something falls through for Colombia. Um, Started vaccinating as well. They're wide open. Their cases are coming down. They're actually with some of these articles and everything that I'm seeing, they're like starting to push the tourism a little bit. They're they're starting to say, you know what? How about some people start coming to Costa Rica to come visit?
Well, I can't imagine that they want to stop or stall that because it's a major it's a major revenue for them.
It's huge.
So,
Yeah, they're. I mean, they're also, yeah, like I said, they're on my short list of places to get to for a little while.
and anyone going to go out in the coming months as far as for vacation or maybe kind of nomading it for a little bit? I know a few of my friends are actually one person does the van trip, and I haven't had a chance to catch up with him, and I want to catch up with him, see what his experience has been like, uh, and maybe consider just having him on the show and talking about what his experience is like, what he liked about it, what he doesn't like about it, kind of what the learning experience is like, because I think ultimately that's what we do, is that we provide kind of our experiences live, to be able to show people like what it's like. And for the most part, especially for long term, it's a pretty normal schedule, other than you get to be at a particular place and you go, oh, I want to go do something. All right, let's go do something at night or on the weekend. And
It really is. That's exactly how it is. It's like a super normal, regular schedule. Working, doing the dishes, doing laundry, food, grocery shopping. It's just you're in a completely different place. And there's just a lot of new, shiny events going on. There's always just something new for you to enjoy for a while. But the core of it is really, life, work, and that
yeah,
um, during the week. So when you come back, are you coming back just to Massachusetts? Do you have meetings and stuff that you got
yeah,
to come back for?
yeah. I'll come back to Massachusetts. I might travel somewhere else, but again, it's like in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to kind of nail that down a little bit, because they do need they I do need to get certain things definitely completed. Um, but yeah, Massachusetts, and then I'll be looking to head out definitely a couple of months after that. But I could very well decide that I'm going to travel somewhere else, for a short bit, because I'm not sure if I'm going to want to deal with a cold. That's just my honest opinion. It is at the end of March, so it's not going to be
Yeah.
that bad. But knowing me, like I like being in a tank top and shorts and sandals pretty much all day.
Yeah, I gotta get out for a little bit. Like I said, I still gotta get that scuba certified, and the Fort Lauderdale trip, as far as traveling, just hasn't lined up right now. And like we talked about it before, the Fort Lauderdale prices really weren't that cheap at all. It's actually kind of pricey for some Airbnbs, at least a reasonable one in a decent area. Um,
Well, I don't know if I talked about this, but I when I had my layover down in Florida, heading down to Ecuador, I actually, before that, I was actually trying to get a Airbnb just for the day, for like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours, so I could sleep. And either most of the places were booked, or or they weren't doing, like a morning time arrival. But
sure.
I spoke with several Airbnb people, and the surprising thing was most of them were booked. I was I was kind of floored by that. I was like,
No,
well,
I mean it's one of the few places with a lot of stuff going on. Open. It's stateside. It's there again. A ton of traffic right now.
yeah. So I think, yeah, if there was definitely people, if there was a place to go, especially if people want to get out of the cold, especially if you're out in Texas or anything like that, I'm sure you know finding some warmer pastures somewhere is definitely going to be a nice little break from the disgusting cold out there. So my heart goes out to you guys. If anyone's out there in Texas and you guys are out there, a shout
Ah,
out to you. Um, I totally feel you on what's going down there. Obviously, there's a bunch of things that could have could have been avoided and stuff like that, at least from what I've seen in the news. But I want to make sure everyone's safe and warm, or at least as warm as they can be. Have all of their supplies, because from what I've seen from the news out here, is that places are just ransacked like it was 2020. You know, things like toilet paper were missing in the stores, and you can't buy anything. So, all my friends, family out there that's out in Texas, if you guys are still in the power outage and stuff like that, hope you guys are doing well, staying safe and whatnot. And my heart goes out to you. But I can only say that because I'm here
Yeah,
in the
they got the ice storm. They lost a lot of power and stuff down there.
yeah, and but bunch of reasons of I guess there's a bunch of other reasons that could have caused it. It wasn't just yeah, the typical power outage. I guess the mayor was saying that um, the windmills and the solar panels that were the green energy stuff was failing, um,
Yeah,
and there wasn't enough power from the fossil fuel stuff that, to cover base load. So essentially,
ton of stuff like that. Yeah,
it just failed. So hey, I mean, I'm not I haven't been in that industry in a while, but you know what? You need the base load plants. Just just saying, just saying. You need those base load electrical power to power this stuff when these intermittent um, energy production generators like wind and solar go kaput, and that goes vice versa, right? If a gas plant, well, coal plants don't really exist much anymore in the U.S., but you don't got any more. If some of those plants happen to go down, you hope that there's some stored energy, um, from hydro plant or batteries or whatever storage facility that's out there, and then some backup with windmills and solar. But hey, I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Um, you know, it's it's one disaster after another. That's the part that just kind of bonkers. I,
it's a little crazy, right?
it's like one boogeyman after the next. You can't go to bed without waking up the next morning being worried about something.
Oh man, I was actually just poking around because I have a special place in my heart for Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Um, I just love that city. I absolutely just love that city. Um,
Did they get hit at all with
I don't know
the storm?
actually. I don't know. I'm just looking at flights from like March into April. I don't know. I have like a 17-day range or so. Um, out of Boston, round trip actually. March into the beginning of April is actually somewhere to 150 bucks. That's
Wow.
yeah,
That's a deal.
that's super cheap. Super cheap for a round trip. Back and forth to there.
So it seems like the prices for flights are kind of bouncing around. Like
They are bouncing around a little bit. Yeah.
because before I left, I was checking out flights, and they bumped up quite a bit. Like my Florida trip was, um, well, I looked at a few flights. Like, remember before I talked about, like, oh, you could get a flight to Florida from Fort Lauderdale round trip for $50, and then a couple weeks later it was like 250. So it kind of went back to kind of a normal price range. But I think a lot of it has to do too with like, oh, there's a surge of people going down to Florida, to go on vacation or go play someplace warm, and with the cold snap happening right now in Texas, you know, there might be limited people wanting to go out to Texas. So now the prices or the demand for flights have decreased. So I wonder if that's one of the reasons why some of that
I don't know.
has
I know by the end
has
of
been.
March into the beginning of April, down in Austin, Texas, like it starts getting pretty nice. That's actually a beautiful time to be down there.
Yeah. Anyone in the audience from Texas or just moved to Texas or anything like that, and if you guys are experiencing anything out there, I'd like to if you're able to, um, kind of share what your experience is, because we'd like to see how everything's going. I'm hearing some crazy stories. Like I saw a headline news where a couple brought in some delivery person and let them stay at their house because they got stranded. So I guess this person's staying with this couple like indefinitely.
What?
I didn't watch the whole video. I watched like maybe like a minute of it, but it was one of those like, oh, the person was, I don't know, from FedEx or delivering Amazon, and like got stranded. I don't know, cold caused the car to break, or I don't know. I didn't get any of the details. I just,
Yeah,
but apparently, oh, can't go anywhere, so I ended up staying with this couple, um, where she dropped off, where she dropped off, like their package. So it's a lot of crazy stuff out there, but a lot of good people, which is a good thing.
that's kind of funny.
Yeah. A-
Um,
and to be honest, I would think that, especially in Texas, I've always found that a lot of people from Texas tend to be super nice, so they wouldn't mind being able to do something like that. Like, oh, this person's stranded. All right, bring them in.
no, I've had good experiences down there. Like I said, especially like in the Austin area and everything. I loved being down there. It was great, great place. Yeah, just poking on flights. Actually, decent flights for JetBlue actually are in the 200s. I whacked off Spirit because I, I I can't do the Spirit, man.
I'll tell you what, like I do it because it's so dirt cheap, but I can tell you honestly,
They
it's
always get you on the carry-on bag.
yeah, it ends up becoming just a little bit cheaper than a standard price. Like,
Yeah, once you get the carry-on and stuff, because I mean, legitimately, unless you're just carrying like I don't know how small the bag is, but never have I had a bag small enough for them to be okay with it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think they're a little bit more strict with it too. Like, if you have one carry-on, it's not going to be expensive. But if you're coming in with check bags and carry-ons like I did, it ends up becoming very close to the price of of the like a JetBlue. But
and you know what? Their terminal in Boston sucks. Not that there's anything open in the terminals right now in Boston, anyways, but the terminal for Spirit Airlines in Boston is so bad.
well, here's the thing. They change what they do is they actually change their gates more often, I think, than any of the other airlines. So like,
Yeah, which that would not. I'd get real annoyed with that quick.
yeah. Now, in their defense though, because I have been using them, I can honestly say, service wise though, the people that work, or the people that I've encountered that work for Spirit, amazing, absolutely amazing, super super friendly, very helpful, um, and they seem to take the jokes about using their airlines pretty well, because
They're a good sport about it.
oh yeah, yeah, like, well, I told you before, right? So when I was checking in my bags, the guy told me like, oh, you can't get on your flight without buying your return flight from Ecuador. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I was gonna do that when I get to Florida. He's like, oh, you can't do that. Um, Otherwise you can't get on. So I'm like, all right, well, so he forced me to buy my ticket, and I'm like,
I'd be
that's
like,
and
yeah, yeah, I can.
and then I'm like, oh, so that's how you get people, huh? He's like, yeah, yeah. He was cool about it. I mean, obviously he made the sale. It was actually a little bit cheaper to buy the flight through him, and
Really?
apparently, yeah, like it's not much, maybe like 30-40 bucks, but it's still a little bit cheaper. But to be honest, and anyone who's watching, if you're thinking about taking Spirit, it's bare bones, and they stuff the plane. So whatever social distancing that you're having at the airport, just forget it. Like it's just not even gonna happen because they
It's
stuffed the
not a
plane.
chance.
Um,
Yeah.
and part of it too is that there's limited flights, so they're just gonna cram as many and like to Ecuador. I mean, there's two times, morning and in the night, and there's like nothing in between. So if people are arriving in Guayaquil, you're either gonna arrive early in the morning or at night. You know, JetBlue and Spirit literally land within 15 minutes of each other. So it's you know, depending on which flight you take, they're not going to be convenient for anybody, unfortunately, because I think part of the reason too is like Guayaquil is not a huge kind of cross like large international flight where people go to Ecuador and then drop off to another location. Um,
Hmm.
it's not kind of that intermediary, so there's only a limited number of flights, which is kind of a sad thing because honestly, for people that are watching, like Ecuador right now is like probably more open than any other place. At least from my experience being out here, it's like there's not too many limits as far as things that you can do, and bars are open, clubs are open. Um, they do take the safety thing pretty serious. Like you go to the store, they got their person with their alcohol gel. They check your temperature. Um, and you clean your shoe with whatever that mat is with alcohol on it
Yeah.
too. So if anyone's
But
concerned about that, it's
but if you do want to go out and do a different activity, then yeah, that's also allowed too, right?
yeah, yeah. Like I said, I went to the beach yesterday. It closes at 6. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to stay at the beach any longer than you need to.
It's
Over
just kind of
here,
that is just kind of that's kind of just odd in general, but
yeah. But we're hopefully this coming weekend, Sophia and I are actually going to go to Olón. But I kind of want to go out and see what it's like out in Mañanita. I was describing to you like Mañanita has a lot of bars and clubs. So on a non-holiday weekend, I want to see kind of what it's like and give people feedback and obviously post a video on it just to show like, oh, people are out and about. If people are worried, you can do the PCR test and things like that. But people are cognizant about being safe. But the great thing is, like I said, places are open. You can go out to eat. You can go out have a drink. So you're not just stuck doing staying at home. So I think that's one of the great things that I'm grateful for being out here. It's like you can go out. You know, the malls are open. A bunch of activities. Actually, the beach was actually pretty full. There was a good amount of people there.
yeah, absolutely. Why not? So I mean, get out, get some sun, enjoy yourself, take a little swim. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I'm dying.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna notice the temperature is just seriously just walking like 15 minutes. So every other day maybe I go out to eat with Sophia, out to lunch because she works down at the center of town, and just walking to and it's only 10, 15. It's not even 15 minutes, like 10, 12 minutes to walk from the house to the center of town. And dude, my tan just and obviously going to the beach yesterday, it's like it just came in like
The
real.
sun's blaze. Well, I mean, the sun's blazing down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
My first stretch down in Colombia, I'm going to be applying sunscreen like a madman. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little sunburn, but I did put on some sunblock because yeah, that sun can beat down pretty heavily. But I'll tell you what, it feels good. I'm not gonna lie, it feels nice to it's like because most of the houses here have like an outside wall, for safety reasons. So
Yeah.
getting outside the walls, it's so satisfying. Actually, I'm thinking about maybe going out for a walk. after this, just just to get out. Um, so
Yeah, I'm going after this directly to the gym. Do not pass go. Still, yeah, still just going along with the training, which has been great. Like I need to get out of here for a little bit, like I said, for the scuba, and I can't wait to travel and everything. Um, but definitely wherever I am, gonna have to figure out a place to stay active. Whether it's again if there's a gym around or something. Just because it's you take all this time, invest all this effort, being really serious about it. Um, and that that first month, 2 months is the hardest, right?
mm,
You get over the hump, and now you're at a point where it's like, okay, I can actually like really start focusing on making real great, great quality games when you're getting back to really working out hard. I
yeah,
just I don't want to lose that. I don't want to have I want to be able to enjoy myself, but I don't really want to have any setbacks at the same time.
mm, mm.
Um,
Well, I think if Colombia is anything like Ecuador, it's not going to be difficult to have all the amenities that you want in a neighborhood. It's the way I think of it. It's like when you go to New York, right? And there's like 800 people that live in one building, and then within 2 blocks, there's a store, there's a gym, there's you know what I mean. There's a bunch of stuff. Ecuador, and even Peru. When I was in Lima, it was the same thing. It's like you could be within 5 blocks, and within those 5 blocks, it's like everything you need, whether it's a
yeah, just
a
repeat.
market, um, and you have like that one store, you have that, you have several bakeries that just service that particular barrio, that neighborhood.
Mhm.
So I don't think you're gonna run into any issues because it's even the same thing here. It's like there's a gym literally 10-minute walk from me, and then you know not even 10 minutes from that, there's another gym. Not
Yeah,
it's not large. It doesn't have all the stuff, but there's gonna be a lot of options as far as being able to do that because that was the same thing in
there'll be
Quito.
there'll be something. There'll be enough.
Yeah, so I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't worry too much about that. And to me, I think that's one of the great luxuries about like a place like Ecuador, Peru, Lima, Colombia, Latin America in general, is gonna have that type of. I mean, even the Philippines, and I would presume even places like Vietnam, Southeast Asia, it's just gonna have that type of thing. So it's not more, you're not gonna have those very large buildings, but you're gonna have it's kind of spread out within a very close range. So if because you think about it, right? There's still a good percentage of people here that don't drive. I mean, there's a lot of cars on the road and people do drive, but
Tons of people don't drive though, because
yeah,
you don't need it.
yeah, and believe it or not, like even the public transportation, and it's the same too in Lima. I never really took the public transportation that much in Lima, but it's one of those like you remember, right? It's like you don't necessarily have to stand at the bus stop. Like you just kind of stand on the route of the of the bus route,
Yeah, kind of just
and
like pick people up all over.
yeah, and you just gotta wave them on, and then they'll stop for you. And I think it's weird, and it's not as efficient, but it's definitely more convenient for passengers. And strange enough, I actually like it. And that's part of the reason why we use the public transport here. Like every now and then we do take the taxi because we just want to get things done right away. But the frequency of the buses coming is actually quite a bit. And it's like if you want to go somewhere, you're going to be within 10-15 minutes to the place, and you might have to wait 2 to 5 minutes. You barely. It's very rare that we have to wait longer than that. So I think that's one of the great things, like I said. So, for me, in my opinion, like I don't like having a car. I like being able to, walk to the store, walk to the gym, and stuff like that. And every now and then, take the bus, or take a taxi because it's still, very cost effective, to get to a certain distance and not have to pay so much. So it's very convenient in that way. And there's always taxis. And like I said, the buses run pretty late, so it's one of those things. I really don't think you're really going to run into any issues finding a gym because they're just going to be within a reasonably good radius, which is really awesome. And that's
Yeah, definitely.
and that's for anyone that's watching right now. When you're going out to these places, it's really convenient in that sense, and especially if you're going to stay for a long time, you're going to find that the convenience. There's a store adjacent to here, less than a block away, where I buy my energy drink, and we buy like other supplies. Like, oh, we're gonna get. The other day, I bought green peppers and some onions. It's like, oh, I didn't have to go super far away. I just had to walk half a block away, get the stuff, and then you know that was it.
Yeah,
Like,
there's like traveling, like I don't know, like I said to you before, like I kind of just, trips. I love being a little bit off the grid for a little while. But when you're staying in a place and you don't have a car, it's a new place, like being in a bigger city with a lot going on is, well, for a long-term stay is kind of super important. Um,
well, I told you I told you about that place, Milagro, right? The city that has like a lot of commercial activity, but the only thing
yeah,
is there was like nothing to do, and
nothing to do,
yeah, there was no Airbnb. So Sophia and I just left because I
right?
had
So like you're picking these cities, like there needs to be like stuff to do,
yeah
stuff to do on the weekends because I can't just leave and go off the grid all the time. Like I'm working Monday through Friday. I got this little stretch of time.
yeah
I don't necessarily I can't be guaranteeing on an 8-hour bus ride back and forth on just a weekend. I don't really want to deal with a car. So you got to be able to find that balance. So you definitely need a place where you can, entertain yourself at night on the weekends just there without having all this extra overhead. Now, when you like take a little bit of time off to really go and see some other areas, that's completely different. But for day in and day out, no way.
yeah, and that's the thing. So if people were interested in really going off the grid, I can honestly say, and if you guys watched the previous episodes where I talked about Milagro, and I'll talk about it again, this place does not have Airbnbs. It was the most surprising thing. It's only an hour out from Guayaquil, which is the main city, and
So like, sorry, go ahead.
and and everything around that is also like pretty much off the grid. So it wouldn't be a recommendation if you definitely want to do stuff. And like I said, Sophia and I left that place because like, oh, it was cool to see, but there was just like
No,
we had to go 40 minutes to a town
yeah.
to do stuff.
So here, like my idea of going off the grid for a little while and enjoying myself is like the island of like Providencia in Colombia that I told you about. We have to take a double flight to get out there because it's so far out there to be out there for a few days for scuba diving, or like the San Bernardino archipelago, which is that little chain which had that little hostel there for a few days where basically like the internet's not that great, there's nothing going on and you just chill, but you're there on the islands, the beach, or going on a hike for 5 or 6 days to go and see like the Lost City or to Machu Picchu. Like those stretches off the grid, absolutely. But for day in and day out, when you got to work and everything, and you only got the little weekends, yeah, I would have been out of that city so fast.
Well, here's the thing. Like, so we came back. We were thinking about staying in Guayaquil because they had because Monday was part of Carnival also going into Tuesday, but we ended up coming back because all our family was here, so we did stuff at the house. Um, but there's more stuff to do here in Santa Elena than there was to do in Milagro, which is like this pretty large commercial city, and it was just very bizarre. It was like we were
Yeah.
just kind of floored. There was not much to do. A lot of places were
Why?
closed relatively early, and um, like so. For instance, one of the cool things here in Santa Elena, in the center of town, every day I think it's from 8 until 2 in the morning. They have food trucks or like a food like a on a street every night.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like if you want to grab something to eat after you go to a bar or something, um, you can go there. And there's people are actually out and about really late at night. So
That's real cool.
um, and like I said, like after we talk today, uh, I'm gonna ask Sophia see if she wants to go out for a walk. Uh,
Yeah, definitely.
but there's other stuff out here. Like I said, the beach is not too far away. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things to do, and it's not a big city, comparatively to this other place. At least what it looked like on the map. It's like, oh, this looks like there's a lot going on, and then you go there like, whoa, there's restaurants and stuff, but at night there was like everything was closed. It was a ghost town. It's a different feeling. Um,
Yeah, and
but
I mean, for me, like if it's it's nice. I'll go like come the weekend and everything. Like I really still enjoy nightlife. I really, really, really do. Come the Friday, Saturday night, even a little bit on Sunday. Like I want to go out and knock on wood, stuff is all open back up for the most part. Um, Being able to go out and have just the city being alive, people out doing stuff, whether it's a restaurant, bars, this area where they're playing music outside, just like being alive and enjoying the night. Like I need that absolutely. Like I don't want it to just be absolutely dead silent. It's okay for a little while, but a very very short little while.
yeah, and that's like I said, if you know, like for me, Santa Helena is a good centralized area, but I think the stuff that you know, because it's a way bigger city, you know, where people are there's gonna be a lot of people clustering at the bars and the clubs and whatnot on the weekends, because obviously that's where all the large universities are and stuff like that. So um, and on top of that, it's a good centralized location too. So if you want to go out to the very remote places, the option is
Oh yeah,
there.
you're
It's
talking
it's
Quito
or it's
or Quito or Guayaquil.
Me personally, if I were to choose, I would actually pick Quito, hands down. I To be honest, I absolutely hate tropical weather. Being from the tropics, I absolutely hate it. I can't stand super muggy, like 1,000% humidity. I can't, where you're practically swimming outside. Like no.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
like here, it's semi-arid, so it's hot, but it's not sweaty hot. It's hot hot. So it's a different kind of heat. Guayaquil, it's tropical hot, but it's also hot hot too. Like it's sweltering, but it's also nice to walk around with a tank top and shorts and stuff like that. But it's tropical.
Yeah,
So
we may not end up hitting Guayaquil because if the way that I'm thinking about it plans out is like I definitely want to see the area that you're at right there, along with that little coastal like weekend spot town that you mentioned, a little up just north of you.
yeah,
Uh, Mananita, along with spending some time out in the Galapagos for a while. I mean, between the combo of those few things, that's a month right there
oh yeah, yeah.
without even trying. So definitely, almost definitely, probably after that stretch, starting out early, that'll give me a chance to see the kind of the coastal Galapagos, that whole area. Definitely want to do probably chill up in Quito for a little while, because that'll be coming right off of tropical out in Cartagena, out on the islands, Colombia. Do that, then try, get a little mountain weather up there in Quito.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, me personally, I'm a big fan of Quito. I love the mountain, the mountain temperature. I love the mountain weather. I love that it gets super, it can get pretty cold at night, but it never during the day it gets hot, but it never gets sweltering, like because it's higher altitude, like it gets hot, but you never feel like it gets, tropical hot. So
Yeah, that at that elevation, you're usually fine in a t-shirt and jeans for the most part.
I absolutely love the weather. I mean, it's a lot like Cusco. It's a lot like Cusco. But with that being
Nice.
said, we're into the hour. If you haven't yet, make sure that you guys like and subscribe. We're gonna be tuning in again next week. You know, keeping you guys posted what's been going down. If you guys have any questions, stuff like that, make sure to drop us a line. Cruz, do you have anything else to add as far as the trip goes? I know you're excited to get out.
Oh, I'm itching to go. Really, really itching to go. It's just, yeah, it's unfortunate. Stuff is just going slow. Stuff is going real slow with, everything. Of course, you're up, whatever, vaccines, openings, this, that. Pick one thing. It's just, it's
It
it's
piles up.
taken absolutely forever. But that's all right, because the next time, like I said, once the next time we pack up and go, it's going to be for quite some time. So that's all right. Just going to keep training, which is exactly what I'm going to do right after this.
All right. So that being said, thank you guys for joining us this week. We're going to be jumping on next week again. And if you guys have any questions about how things are going, you guys wanting to plan a trip or anything like that, keep us in mind. Like I said, it's an open invite as far as when Cruz and I go out to these places. And, the more the merrier. I know we always kind of ping our friends to join us for like a week or two and see that it's,
Oh.
we're not going